For these one-day-old chicks in a poultry farm in Cameroon, the future is bleak. With little food to feed them, farmers can't sell them or keep them. They're going to have to be killed. An ironic situation for an African country which has seen its poultry production double since last year.
At the moment, we destroy 17,000 chicks. That's 17,000 one-day-old chicks, and I'm sure that'll increase next week. They'll end up in the bin, taken in rubbish bags, and end up as refuse.
It's estimated that since last December, more than 200,000 chicks in Cameroon have been destroyed. The main culprit has been a dramatic worldwide rise in the price of corn over the last 9 months. But local farmers have also accused the government of embezzling funds set aside to help them grow the corn-based chicken feed. Just 4 years ago, it was a different story and a different scandal. Chicken production, which is considered one of Cameroon's main food staples, was low. Instead, the country imported chicken from European farms. It was cheaper, but also frozen. Without the proper means of preserving the frozen meat, it quickly became a health hazard and unfit for human consumption. Cameroon became a symbol of Europe's dumping practices. With a grassroots campaign launched by a local NGO, the government banned these imports and local chicken farming increased, so did the demand for chicken feed. This farm is about half an hour's drive from the capital Yaoundé. Marie-Anne Mavogo is worried. She says there's little feed left. Prices have risen by 40% in less than a year.
It's so expensive. The corn is expensive. It's hard now. Last year the chicken feed was 11,000 and now it's risen to around 15,000.
Her husband is also worried. He says never has corn production been so low and so expensive. That's despite help from the EU, which has set up funds to subsidise local farmers.
This pen was built by us with help from the European Union. It's used to store corn to make the chicken feed. But it's empty at the moment because there's the worst shortage I've ever seen of corn in the country.
The frozen chicken scandal and now the corn crisis has once again highlighted the debate of food sovereignty for Africa. Here in the south of Cameroon, the main source of income comes from fishing and agriculture. It's a similar situation not only throughout the country but throughout Western Africa. To help Cameroon's estimated 3 million small-scale farmers, the government set up another round of subsidies last year. 400,000 Cameroonian francs, the equivalent of about €720 per farmer. But many farmers claim to have seen only part of the money.
Unfortunately, we've not had the 400,000 francs. We've only had 280,000 francs from our local cooperative.
Where is the other 120,000?
I don't know. I just don't know. The 120,000? I've no idea.
A local NGO has accused the Ministry of Agriculture of corruption. It claims these subsidies, money largely from the EU, was embezzled. But at the ministry in Yaoundé, the head of the corn programme begs to differ. He shows the list of farmers who've received subsidies. For him, it's clear that everyone's received the total amount.
Oh, please, 100% has been distributed. You know how I know? Because I'm the one who's organised it. Even if the minister himself came to claim money twice over, I would know and I wouldn't give it to him. It's my responsibility.
But last December, farmers took their protest to the streets. It was a rare scene in a country where public demonstrations are banned. The protest was organised by the local NGO called the Citizens Association for the Defence of Collective Interests, or ACIDC. It accused Ministry of Agriculture employees of embezzling some €1.2 million in subsidies for corn production. It was not good news for a country where cereal makes up to 70% of feed for poultry. Bernard Nyonga is president of ACDIC. He was arrested during the protest and later let go. Yet for him, the protest was a victory. He claims it shows Cameroonians have had enough.
Everyone's been encouraged to continue the campaign, but backing such a cause requires patience and perseverance. In fact, it's a cause which touches on problems which lie far deeper than those connected with the frozen chicken scandal. It goes back to the corruption and embezzlement of all corn programs, right up to ministerial level. We believe that all Ministry of Agriculture programs are suspect and rotten with siphoning off funds and corruption. That's the next fight.
But even if a local NGO is ready to take on alleged corruption, some argue that Africa's fight for food sovereignty is an international one. The EU has claimed that the current economic partnership agreements with African, Caribbean and Pacific countries, which call for lowering trade barriers, will help developing countries. But critics argue that free trade hinders rather than helps local farmers.
There are important margins of productivity which one can develop, but what one really needs is a true Marshall Plan for agriculture in sub-Saharan Africa. If the international commercial system remains as it is, it will ruin family-run agriculture in Africa. The current commercial system will put producers in an extremely unfavourable situation in competition with producers from northern countries. As such, I think for this region there's little future for agriculture.
SOS Fin is a Belgian NGO which has been active in encouraging grassroots groups in Cameroon and in other African countries to act locally when it comes to food sovereignty. For Jean-Jacques Gourdon, even the most favourable trade agreements won't be the answer. The best is for Cameroonians themselves to take control of their agricultural future, something they're doing more and more.
One looks at this developing society and its needs, and gradually, as it studies and listens, it realises what it should do. For example, the campaign against the frozen chickens. Ordinary men and women succeeded in blocking the importation of frozen poultry. And what's more, they succeeded in making the politicians subsidise the poultry sector, making them meet local needs. It's effectively following the voice of the people.
Yet Cameroon's fight for food sovereignty is far from over. This year, corn will have to be imported, and the local NGO warns that without more corn production, an even worse food crisis is looming.